Hello, and welcome to episode 52 of Flushing Pod. My name is Abby, and I'm your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. Logan, we'll start with you. What did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
I am a small child, a simple child, and did very little. I was following the Kennedy game plan. Thought about doing nothing, but I did manage to go to Armory and last night, so Saturday night, and we drafted Tales of Aria, and then just ran back another Monarch draft after that. It was pretty chill, just 8 people for the second draft, 6 people for the first Armory draft. So it was, obviously holiday weekend, there's not a whole lot going on. Holiday weekend in the U.S. where we were celebrating, again, not losing to England we're XO and 1, XO and O lifetime. So,
yep,
or XOX, I guess, lifetime against England. So cheers. And then otherwise just doing family stuff during the week and on the weekend. Nothing really of note. I'm a little bit closer to Dynasty being completed, but some of these cards just like either just don't exist in Des Moines or something along those lines. It's getting kind of frustrating to try to find them. So, locally. So I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and finish it out through TCG Player, I think, which is not my favorite
it's a bummer.
thing.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, I just have been trying to figure out, what do I still like in this game to play? Because there's going to be a CC season coming up, and the only thing I've found any joy in is playing Briar, and I realize that some of my joy in that is the agony of my opponents when Channel Mount Heroic sticks around for like 2 turns. So there's that. It gets a little aggressive at times. I think I presented 43 damage or something like that in a turn, and the guy was like, come on, like, really? Like, yeah.
Well, any blocks or
yeah, we blocking because it was a force of will, nimblism, channel mount heroic, embodiment of lightning turn that just kept snowballing and snowballing and snowballing, and he was trying to block and just didn't. There was no getting out of it. So
yeah, he didn't see it yet.
No, he didn't realize that there was a snatch in hand and there was also a snatch in the pocket. So we were drawing cards no matter what.
Pocket snatches are misleading. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to Snapdragon's the second one, and it's going to get real bad from here. And I kind of feel bad about it, but not enough to not do it.
Sure.
So that. Oh well, I would like to also call out that we are recording at the very early time this morning, and so even though this is the 52nd show, this is the last show of our first year of doing this. I can't even celebrate with a beer, so this is the nice Monster Zero for the morning because I didn't have time to make coffee.
Oh man, the white ones are good though. I respect the white one.
I do. Come on,
it's my second favorite one.
Okay. You like the orange? The orange. Is
I like the orange of the same variety, like the zero calorie or whatever.
Yeah, no sugar, right?
Right.
I'm just not a big sugar person.
Monster sugar is like so much.
It's syrup. It's like literal like pancakes. Like put this shit on pancakes. Like what the fuck, man? Like you shouldn't be drinking this. This is like at least salvageable, right? Like it tastes like white grape and piss, but like the good kind of piss, like filtered piss.
Yeah, right. Like
so. Yeah. You're not worried about like gagging on the piss. It's like Castaway piss, where Tom Hanks is drinking his own piss, but he's filtered said piss. Did he filter the piss in Castaway?
Man, I'm pretty sure that we're at the auto semantic asphyxiation thing, or what's that? Auto semantic? No, it's not autoerotic. The thing where words have lost meaning. Like, yeah, you've said piss so many times that I don't know what piss means anymore. It just is a word,
Right. It's just It's 4 letters. Sure.
Yeah, it's just syllables.
Yeah, one. Oh. Not even syllables. Just
syllable,
not plural.
Yeah,
it's syllabic.
There you go.
What is happening?
Monosyllabic.
I don't know. You let us go off the rails. That's on you.
You weren't paying attention. Yeah.
No, I was paying attention. I'm still just concerned. Anyways,
Jordan, what did you get up to?
I didn't play in a sanctioned event, shocker to everybody, but I did play some games on Talishar. Like you, I'm in this spot of like I've got to figure out a deck to play that I like. I don't know if that exists. It doesn't feel like it does. I've played a lot of Assassin, which I don't think I'll take to a sanctioned event. Like unless the metagame will be like 90% dash. And then I'll take Assassin. But absent like a dash winter, Assassin won't be in my deck. Also, like same thing with trying to finish up my collection. Surgical extractions are like $40 still.
They have had a come down in recent days.
The lowest one on TCG is 38, which is down from their 45.50. So here's hoping that trend continues. But for a minute, it was looking like.
If you want to buy from TCG Player, they have bonus bucks going on, I guess.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, it starts today at 9. Oh shit. Mm-hmm. Because they were approaching like CNC prices, which is just like outlandish, right?
No, that's not even, yeah.
So I assume there was some printing thing. It sounds like the short print rumors were confirmed, like just by looking at this, and now it's products getting opened. Yeah, I played a couple games on Talishar. I watched a lot of World Cup this week, so like it was kind of just the thing I had on one monitor, and then Talishar was on the other one, and then my work laptop was here. What else? Talked about the game a lot and like testing discords, but I've actually been playing Netrunner lately, the old LCG from Fantasy Flight. It got like a reboot from like a fan made company basically makes the game now, and they release sets on a regular schedule and they hold world championships, and like it's very good. So we've been playing that kind of casually as like a Columbus group. So that's been kind of a fun like break in the OP schedule from Fab. So but PTQ season's coming around, so I gotta find a deck that I don't hate.
Are we recording a nap now, or is this still a FAP? Like, are we?
Yeah.
Made that decision?
No.
So yeah, no. Like people want to do the nap podcast, but I just can't bring myself to nap and FAP, and I'm just not happening.
One comes before the other.
Yeah, right.
You see what I did there? There were so many layers to that sentence.
That joke was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was unfortunately missed on me on the initial pass because it's early, and the earliness is my fault. I completely realized, but it was a good joke. That was it for me, really. Kind of just played some games on Talishar, trying to get back into the swing of things. Gotta figure out a deck I like. Abby, what about you?
I did nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. I had to work Thursday and Friday. I don't work in an industry that gets holidays off, so I just worked a normal week last week. But
now let me ask you this: if you didn't have to work Thursday and Friday, what Flesh and Blood would you have played?
Who knows? The possibilities were endless. But I had to work, so
whatever the number was, I would be taking the under.
Yeah. Like absent 0.
Right. No, I don't have anything coming up that I'm like, I don't have Pro Quest season, so I'm not stressed to find a deck or anything.
If Blitz were the PTQ format, how much Flesh and Blood would you have played?
More.
Yes, more than 0. Holy shit! Yeah. Oh god!
The odds really? More than again, the under.
Yeah, right.
Listen, I'll leave right now. That's what I thought.
We could just hang out for a little bit more.
All right, news and notes. We got some dates for SCG Con in Q1. So we have January 13th through the 15th in New Jersey. I also find it interesting that New Jersey's is New Jersey and the other two are the cities that they're in, but it's okay. February 3rd through the 5th is Indianapolis, and March 3rd through the 5th is Charlotte.
So one of these will certainly be a calling.
You would think.
You would think, yeah. I hope that it's not the one in January, because that is week 1 of PTQ season.
That'd be super shitty.
Yeah, we talked about this in the Discord a lot. Of like, I will skip Battle Hardens in favor of PTQs. I won't skip Callings in favor of PTQs. So if they make this one in New Jersey a calling, that's very upsetting. for like the local tournaments that hold PT, especially in that area.
I think it's also upsetting from a travel perspective. Like that's not far away. That's like a month and change out, and you're expecting people to book travel. Even the one in February being a calling is somewhat upsetting at this point.
Yeah, that's even before we don't have dates for that. We don't have confirmation for that, you know?
Mm-mm.
Like, so as of now, you should have it on your calendar, but can you realistically, like, if SCG Con Indianapolis isn't a calling, you'd feel like a fucking idiot if you bought a flight to that.
Yeah.
You know?
But like, so Charlotte makes sense.
Yeah.
To be a calling because Worlds was there, or not Worlds, Nats was there, and it's a good event hall. It's a good city for travel. So is Indy, really.
Yeah.
But I would say that if I were going to bank on one of those being a Q1 calling and only one, I would say Charlotte makes the most sense. But we also know it's LSS is scheduling, so it could just as easily be the one in New Jersey.
Yeah. SCG Con Indy last year held the calling. But I think, yeah, man, if they're only giving you 2 months, like that's crazy.
It's not
everybody that isn't like a drop everything and play this game type of person is so hurt by like 90% of our listeners, right, are just crushed by this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our listeners would describe themselves as competitive enthusiasts that would like to go if this was in like a 6 to 8 hour range, in which all of these are for me, for Central Ohio. So, man, that's tough.
I should just live there, God. But
yeah, Columbus is great for competitive cards, man.
Yeah, it's also I'm gonna miss Indy, which hurts. Because I mean, it's not something I could move. I can't move my mother turning 70. I mean, that's just something that's going to happen.
Yeah, you've known about it for 70 years, right?
Well, I've only been alive for 42 of them, but
okay, sure.
I think, and then if you factor in like when I was aware that my mother's birthday was February 4th,
sure.
But,
so one could have been aware for 72 years.
Yeah, no,
70 years.
No.
70. Yeah,
70. Sorry, you were 42. She's 70. I conflated the numbers.
Right.
My bad. Yeah.
And so they're I'm going to miss that one, and that sucks. But it is what it is. I would much rather spend that day with celebrating the woman who birthed me.
That's fair.
And the as the rest of you should too. You should enjoy the fact that I'm alive. And Abby does not look convinced by that.
Please clap.
So, so I really think that Charlotte makes the most sense, not just from a selfish perspective, but from a organizing travel perspective. There's also a possibility that none of these are callings. It's definitely possible that these are just SCG cons and not and there's Battle Hardens because that's just something that they do for SCG cons, and that none of these are callings. There's also a possibility that 2 of these are callings. So we just don't have shit. We just don't know, and that's driving me fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because as soon as we got off the record last week, these dates dropped because, like, of course they did, but
right.
At the same time, this is like nothing news, you know, for what we care about. Like, there's also a possibility, by the way, that there's nothing at these, like not even Battle Hardens. That's really unlikely because like it's SCG can get a Battle Harden for free.
So on the like announcement page for these events, it says join us to play these games and Flesh and Blood is included.
Oh,
so
I see.
I'm assuming that there's a Battle Harden at minimum.
Yeah, SCG Con can just like get those on demand, basically, right? So that's fair. Man, what a disappointment that we don't have anything yet. Like,
yep,
you clearly know.
I would hope.
Yeah, right. Or what the hell are we doing? Right? Like, you have the dates, you have the venue now, just like, because that's the biggest logistical hurdle, I assume, right? Is like dates and venue and staffing. But now you have those. Like, we have in Indianapolis at the Indiana Convention Center, February 3rd to the 5th, there will be a place to play Flesh and Blood. What are we going to be playing? I'll be there probably. So what am I going to be playing?
Yeah, these are all. Okay. Thanks for the images, Star City Games. You are wonderful.
Oh.
Look at the image for SCG Con Charlotte.
Oh, it's Yoji.
Yeah.
Look at the images for the other two.
It's
not
Magic.
Yoji.
It's Urza and Elishnorn from Magic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that Charlotte's a calling then, because they usually put the art for whatever the premiere of whatever the game is, the featured game, as the art for the SCG Con.
Okay, that'd be cool.
I mean, a little bit of I haven't been drinking going on right now, but the Yoji is the image for Charlotte, so I'm guessing that Charlotte is the calling. That'd be my.
I don't want to crush your theory, but
SCG Con Columbus had Phi,
and Baltimore had Icelander, and neither of those
That's
were.
so weird.
So is it truly just random for them? Oh my god. Yikes.
Yeah, the Indy calling doesn't actually have a character image. It just has calling Indianapolis.
And there was a calling there. Yeah. I liked it, Logan. I liked it a lot.
Well, I'm still hoping.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully we get something soon.
My God.
You think so? Yeah, a lot of space. Will we get an answer before Christmas?
No. Well, Christmas, sure. I think. Well, I mean, we're going to talk. We might as well just kick this out of here now. The answer is going to come at about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, is my guess.
Yeah.
Because we're recording now, which is 8 a.m. Central Standard Time.
So, dear listener, you know the results.
Yeah, right. Most likely, you know the results, and here's to hoping that either Charlotte's a calling or none of these are callings, and we have a standalone calling that is not part of an SCG Con.
A standalone calling would be fantastic. I don't know if I think those days are going to happen.
It's already happened, hasn't it?
I just meant going forward. I think there's too much convenience in having them wrapped up in either a premiere event or like an SCG Con. What do you say, Ab?
What was the standalone calling that we've had?
Well, I mean, there's been a calling in each of Nats. I don't know if I'd call those standalones though.
Las Vegas callings.
The Vegas callings have been standalones.
Yeah,
but they're also hype events.
When we say standalone calling, I assume for clarity, we're referring to the calling is the only thing really going on. Like it is the main attraction that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I guess
there's 2 Vegases.
Right.
And then the ones that have been in Europe are all standalone-ish things where they're not wrapped in anything else. I think any calling ran by CFB has been standalone. Is that right?
If we're not if we're including like nationals and like worlds callings, then yes.
Okay.
Which we can, I guess. We can for the purpose of that.
I just think these events always feel like they're run much more cleanly, I guess, when it's mostly flesh and blood and not a bunch of other things going on around it.
Oh yeah. The flesh and blood exclusive things, like things tied to other premiere events, feel so good. When SCG Con is like responsible for sticking us in a corner and like we bother them when we go to like the judges table with questions, like, oh, I don't know anything about flesh and blood, go ask a judge. The judges are like, yeah, dude, that's very much a TO question, like
when you walk up to a non fab vendor and they're just like kind of roll their eyes at you because you have flesh and blood cards, then you walk up to MinMax and they just want to full on mouth kiss you, like mouth with tongue. It's like, wow, this is different.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not closed-minded or anything, but
no, I'm not yucking yums. I'm just saying thanks for being very welcoming. How very European of you.
Yeah, but here's hoping that we get some results soon.
That'd be nice. I mean, I would like to be able to plan out something, because right now, like, you're right. I'm booking travel and shit for out to March.
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
Yeah.
We're Americans. We we have to plan our lives around like capitalism and the shackles of it.
I can't just get on a train and be halfway across my country in 2 hours. Like
nope.
it's a nightmare to get anywhere. So, but anyway, that's frustrating. Classic LSS, I guess.
We can talk about that more here in a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we have 6 listener questions this week.
So fucking many.
Thank you.
We're
also should be over. So thank you.
And that's 20 minutes. That's a new record. It's going a lot faster these days.
Their trailer might have been longer than that. Yeah.
All right. The first question is from C-Dubs. What's your most memorable bad beat story, if any?
$1 into the cup for every minute of bad beats. That is the rule. Jordan, you go first.
Okay. I think I like Chris's question because he knows how much we despise bad beat stories. So this is great. Never come up to me with a bad beat story, by the way. Don't do it. Like Logan said, it costs you $1 per minute.
$1 a minute.
I don't really think I have a fab bad beat story because I think the game is like you have so much to control that like I don't want to ever be the person that's like, oh, then my opponent cast a spell from their hand, I do have a magic bad beat story, and for the context of the story, you have to know 2 cards. You have to know what the card Sphinx's Revelation does, and it costs it's like a blue, white, an X, and you pay like X mana, and you draw X cards and gain X life. Okay, the card's really good. It's an instant, and then you have to know the card Notion Thief does. Okay, Notion Thief is like blue, black 1,
blue, black 2.
Blue black 2, okay, it would be really good at blue black 1. Yeah, blue black 1. It's a creature. It has flash.
Blue black
2. Did I say 1 again?
You did.
Oh, blue black 2. And as it's a creature, as flash, so it can be played as an instant. And when it comes into play, or whenever your opponent would draw more than their first card per turn, you draw them instead. So if your opponent were going to draw 5 cards, they draw 1, you draw 4. All right. This card was not super meta at the time that I played into it. I played Sphinx's Revelation to like draw like 10. And Steve played Notion Thief and drew 9. And that's how I met Logan. And I think I literally said out loud when my opponent, so when Steve said, I'm going to flash in a Notion Thief, I said, what the fuck's a Notion Thief? Because I was winning that game pretty hard. Yeah, like very, very far ahead. All that I didn't have to do was give my opponent 9 cards. That's it. That was the game. But Notion Thief thought differently. We all had a good laugh. I did it later too, I think, because I thought it was just like
cycled an Azorius Charm on your main phase.
Oh yeah.
And then went to draw the card, and Steve went, "Hold on, that's mine." And then drew the card, and your exclamation was, "That's every fucking time."
Yeah, because it wasn't. I thought it was like an enter the battlefield effect, like for the rest of the turn or something. Yeah, nope. Notion Thief applied the whole time. So, and Fab doesn't really have those kind of cards. There's like big blowout, like here's this fun like interactive thing that there's a lot of problems with Magic, right? But like that kind of interaction was really fun. So that's probably my biggest bad beat story, but it's also how I met Logan and virtually everybody from Iowa. So worth.
Yeah. That was quite fun that weekend. I still tell that story irrespective of the people involved, just because the what the fuck's a Notion Thief at upper levels of volumes is the intro to Jordan's story, and the Jordan masterclass is talking about the judge telling us we couldn't say fuck in Louisville.
Oh yeah,
that's the master degree Jordan. So
oh my god, it's a miracle I didn't get DQ'd from that tournament.
It's a miracle we both didn't get DQ'd from that tournament.
God.
Then so Fab, the only one that like comes to mind is in the finals of a Pro Quest where it's a Starvo mirror against somebody that knows Starvo better than me. We all know who it is. And I am at a 16-point life lead, and any ice card, drawing an ice card, ends the game on the spot. And I went, and I had another buddy sitting next to me, and I bricked on drawing an ice card because I think I actually inverted my pitch stack at some point in time, thinking it didn't matter, and went 5 turns without drawing an ice card. Having a Pulse of Volthaven in my hand the whole time to for the auto fuse kill you, and just never drew an ice card, or not an ice card, an earth card, whatever it was I was missing, and then proceeded to just lose handily to fuse. So that was horrible. But that's not really a bad beat. That's the thing about Fab. It's really hard to have a bad beat outside of I got high rolled for 1 billion by something along this. I guess there was the one in I think it was Indy, where my opponent was playing, I was playing Katsu and my opponent was playing Kano, and they were just dead on board. It was over. They needed to do 30-ish. I think it was 28. And so the rips had to be exacties of 3 separate cards, and they hit all 3. And I was just like, okay, that happens. Magic wise, you have to understand, and this is the only time a card game has ever tilted me. And you have to understand conceptually here, this is a states, I believe, or regionals back when they mattered. And so I was XO going into this match, which win this one double draw in. And conceptually, you have to understand there's a thing called, in Magic, there's a thing called mana. I think most people understand that concept. But also in Magic, there was a thing called mana burn. Back in the day, if you pass through your turn with mana in your mana pool, so resources you haven't spent, each unspent resource dealt a damage to you. And that happened at the end of all turns. So my opponent's turn, I'm thinking I need to force counters out of their hand. So I'm going to play a dragon. I was playing a deck called Dragonstorm, which the goal is to just play a bunch of dragons. You cast a spell that goes and gets 5 dragons and they die. And I'm digging for that spell. And once I draw it, the game is going to end. It is 100%, regardless of what they do, going to end. And I think I need to force a counter spell out of hand. Spoiler alert, I didn't. There's no pressure. There's no reason to do this. And so I cast a ramp spell. So something that added mana to my mana pool at instant speed, because I'm going to cast an instant speed creature. And my opponent kind of stares at me and stares at the card and goes, on stack Teferi? Teferi was a creature that when when it's on the battlefield, you can't play things at instant speed anymore. And they can, you can't. So I'm like, yep. So he's like, okay, Seething Song resolves, adds 5 to my mana pool. I take 5 damage. So I just dealt 5 to myself.
Play a card, deal 5, yeah.
Yeah. And then he proceeded to play out a creature or 2. And he attacked me dead for exacties 3 or 4 turns later. And they did the thing you should never do. Ever do.
Oh, no.
And I turned the top card of my deck over to see what it would have been. And it was the Dragonstorm. So if I just would never have casted that Seething Song, I never lose that game. And I proceeded to go on tilt, lose the next one, because I just couldn't. My mind was done. And then stayed on Magic tilt for a solid 3 months. It was just second guessing everything I did, losing to myself more often than I ever do. It was horrifyingly bad.
Once you're in it, you're in it.
You're in it. Yep.
Yeah. The other thing you should never do, and this isn't, this is a different category of the flipping the top card over. Never just lay down your hand after a game and complain about all the ways that you couldn't do anything.
No.
I know that your hand was worthless. I would have assumed you would have played them if they helped. Don't do this. Oh, look at this garbage. Trust me, I'm sure it's trash. Your life total 0. You don't have to tell me twice, man. You suck. I get it. Don't do that shit. Listen, all these bad beat stories are a fucking gag later, but I don't care. You lost. Shit. Yeah. Abby, do you have a bad beat story?
Sign the slip.
Yeah.
I don't think I do. I don't know that I have anything that sticks out to me.
I guess with LSS and Jem would be so have you entered the result?
Have you reported or? No, I just need you to pull the app up real fast.
I missed the sign the slip though.
It's the middle button. Yeah. Sign the slip was so good. Like, hey,
the best part is the slide. It's the
yeah.
and can you yeah,
Do you need a pen? You can use mine. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Abby, I think it's interesting to get your takes on this because you approach it much differently than we do. It was never your identity, like. So
I
you gotta have an L5R1.
I can't think of a single one from like any game I've ever played ever. Like
Really?
No idea. Yeah.
Has there ever been a time where you're just like, man, that was fucking like nothing I did mattered. I did everything right and still lost.
No,
like
absolutely not. I've
okay,
never. Yeah, I'm not good enough for that. No, no, I don't have any.
And by saying she's not good enough for that, she just immediately set herself as being a better person than the two of us.
Yeah, right.
Like that is.
Yeah, like you know what I should have done in the Sphinx's Rev story is like see Blue Black 2, be aware of the cards in the format, and not cast my Sphinx's Rev. Like that's that's my thing there, right? Like Logan's thing there, hey, there's outplay too, like knowing you're in the mana board format. Wow, taking on 5 mana is like risky in that type of thing. There's a lot of outplay for my opponent, right? There's things to be played around, and that's why I hate bad beat stories in general. So that's why it costs $1 for you to tell them to me.
A minute, $1.
Yes,
excuse me. Once that full minute's up, you put $1 in the jar. I'm going to listen for a minute. When the timer goes off, I'm going to go.
If you want to keep going,
guys,
more $1, please.
You guys it's also $100 if you hand me a draft deck. Would you say, Abby?
Unsolicited.
Sorry, Abby. What did you say? I cut you off.
I just said you guys owe me a lot of money.
Oh, sure.
I just listened to all of that.
Well, so did a bunch of people soon, but they asked. So
that's right. I did not.
Unsolicited decks. If you hand me your draft deck to say, "Hey, look at this," I'll be like, "That's going to be a $50. That's going to be $50 up front."
Yeah,
and then it's going to be another $50 upon giving the deck back to you.
Is that a thing that people do?
Yes.
They'll walk up and go, "Hey, look at my draft deck." That's all they'll say too. That's all they'll say is, "Look at my draft deck." They'll just hand you a stack of cards.
You guys should try really like not being good at this game because no one's ever done that to me.
but here's the thing: I don't even know what they want because sometimes you'll because I de facto, if you've ever done this to me, I'm so sorry. You're gonna get behind the curtain here. If you ever just handed me your draft deck and gone, "Look at this draft deck," I have always been like, "Oh, it doesn't look bad," and hands it back. Sometimes it's fucking terrible. They go, "Oh, this deck really sucks." I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, it's going to be nice." Or if they're like, "This deck's really good," I'm like, "Well, yeah, just keep your head about you." I have the perfect flexibility there. Don't show me your draft deck.
You actually don't look at the cards. You just fan through them and go,
"Yep, there looks like there'll be Flesh and Blood cards. Yeah, I didn't see any magic cards in there. Good job."
Looks legal.
Yeah, right. Like don't do it. Don't do it. Now, if I ask, right, or if we're all just kind of talking about it, that's fine.
Totally different.
Don't walk up to me at the convention center and be like, "Hey, look at my draft deck." Especially if it's for your random ass like win a box draft. I don't care.
It's going to be I am going to start pausing people and going, "Excuse me, that'll be $50 up front.
$50.
And then I'll need another $50 when I hand you the deck back.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I don't hand the deck back."
There you go.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
You can hold on to the deck and keep your $50.
You can.
Yeah. Anyway.
There you go, folks. All right. Question number 2 is from Sleepy Jackal. One of the big selling points I tell people about Fab is that LSS actually listens to the player base actively and engages with concerns. Do you feel that they have gotten better or worse in that department as of late?
Logan?
No, not me first.
I feel like it is virtually the same.
Yep.
I don't feel any way about this.
I have a hard time with this because I agree with you, and I don't feel any way about this, but I also think it's some level of ingrainment or like, is it really, or am I just so in it now that I'm more forgiving than I would have been?
Sure.
And that's, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know if that's true. I know I can, because the rose-colored glasses for WotC are totally off of me now, and I can look backwards and see all the shitty things that they've done. That at the time I might have just been like, whatever. And I don't. So I'm trying to not have that with LSS and Flesh and Blood. I'm doing my level fucking best. But it's hard, especially when, at this point in time, we've had FaceTime with an LSS rep, and it's great dude, Alex, if you're listening, you're fucking amazing. And it would feel really bad to bag on somebody's that you enjoy as a person's company that they work for, and obviously they're also sort of indoctrinated with, just because that's their job, that's who they are, that's what they do. That's not who they are, for God's sakes. That's just awful. Please just never acknowledge I said that. But no one's identity should be their job. No one's job should be their identity. Abby, that is directed at you. So
Rude.
So I do wonder if there's a part of me that's missing it. And because as of right now, to me, LSS feels like a very self-aware company. But they still do some of the things that I'm really like. We don't know the fucking event schedule. We talked about that, but that's consistent. They haven't gotten better.
Yeah.
In that regard, it's still shit. One place they've gotten worse is pricing.
We talked about that last week,
right? But like, when you snap off that question of like, have they gotten better or worse listening to players? There was definitely feedback in ProQuest Season 2 of, hey, this was dog shit. Like, we would like to not have dog shit. We would like at least, dog food. And so we can make our own dog shit, I guess.
How about a metal resource counter?
No.
That's the best I could do.
I love, Fab Metal Tokens is a great job. Not sponsored, no free ads.
No free ads. Yeah.
But at the same time, what's the incentive at that point in time for me to go to ProQuests and outside of it's a top 1 environment? I don't want that.
Yep.
I want, if I top 8, I want the concession prize of it. I made top 8. That feels really good. I got these cool things. It sucks I didn't win, but it still feels cool to top 8. Instead, it's like, here are your sleeves and a metal resource counter. That doesn't move the needle.
No.
And I think that there might have been a little bit of a dial back in transparency, but again, it's hard to tell because it's James White at Pro Tour New Jersey was super forthright with any information. He would just, if he could talk about it, he was gonna talk about it. And I don't know if that's how the interactions went at the other events as well, because I wasn't there that he was at. But at the same time, I could see it not being that way. I could see it's like, okay, well, we need to rein some of this in because don't want to get memed or whatever.
Right. Like bigger company problems kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I just don't know if I'm qualified to say whether or not they've gotten better or worse at listening to us, because I think I do have the rose-colored glasses on. I think it is a filtered perspective at this point. I am kind of all in on this game. I talk about it on the internet for an hour and a half a week. I go on other shows and talk about it. I engage with it on Twitter all the fucking time. I own a non-zero amount of the cards. Like, it's hard.
Yeah. I guess staying the same in that regard is almost worse, right? So maybe it's fair to say they've gotten worse at it. Like, if we're talking about issues like transparency, and where transparency and like, hey, we've asked for dates for events for 3-month lead time more than once. So maybe you've just gotten worse, because like then you're actively ignoring comments. And at PT1 in New Jersey, James said, well, a lot of it was COVID based, and I gave some pushback, but I think a lot of people were willing to give some latitude there, and that's over. So not that like the pandemic's over, people still get COVID, but like the excuses of that are over. So like, friend, why don't I know what these events at SCG Con are? Why do we have bad pricing at PTQs? Why? Where's PVE? Like, where's talk about PVE? We think Q1 2023, but that's not on the product launch page. So who knows? There's a lot of, I guess, your thing turned me around. I'm gonna say worse. Um, if only because it hasn't gotten better. And I think that when you're talking about issues like transparency and communication, staying the same is getting worse.
Yeah.
So
Everfest
worse.
Unlimited when?
I need my affordable Everfest cards. Yeah. Oh God.
I forgot about the PVE, and now that you say it, right, it's not on here.
No, it's not on the product release page.
On the release page.
Yeah, thank God Yoji's a playable hero in every other format.
He's a UPF hero.
That's true. That's true as
well. Huh.
Who knows?
Interesting. All right. Question number 3 is from Big Lou. Looking back at a year of the show, what lessons has doing the show taught you? Also, has doing the show changed how you approach the game or other aspects of your life?
Abby's first.
Have you ever listened to one of our old episodes?
No. Not
I
once.
did this probably around like episode 30-ish. I went back and I was like, okay, let's see how it's different. It's unlistenable. I listened to like the first true episode and I was like, this is terrible. People listened to it. It was not good. So, you know, I think that's a big takeaway is we've all gotten better. I'm a lot better. Well, okay, I say that, but I let you get very off topic earlier. But I think we do a lot better of like staying on topic. If we're going on a rant, it's still relevant to the conversation we were having, not going on about your gross energy drink for 10 minutes that I let happen this morning. Sorry, it's early. But we have gotten a lot better in that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely think the show's gotten better over the year. How I approach the game, I don't know if I would play Flesh and Blood if I hadn't done the show and like got engaged in various communities as a result of the show. It's a 2 monster show.
Different drink.
Different drink, yeah. Damn.
Is it a beer?
No, God, no. I wish. I would be very happy if I was cracking a beer right now.
But I don't. Yeah, so to that end, I think I still play Flesh and Blood in large part of the show. Otherwise, though, I don't. How have I approached my life? See, I know this question got posted with plenty of time for me to think about it. And I should have. I just like my wheels spin when I think about this, and it's a good question. But it definitely has impacted my relationship with the game because I still play it. I still think about it. Let me look at it one more time. What lessons the show taught me? That you could like do everything right and some people will still complain is probably a big thing. Or like, and not that I don't think we care, or that you could do everything right and make something that people enjoy, and like that's the extent of like a reward for it. And I think that's fine. Like, there are obviously some things that we would like as a show with as it relates to, I think, like the game, like LSS and stuff like that, that probably isn't going to happen despite all numbers and things. We're a bigger show than a lot of other ones, right? And like we are really happy with the community we've cultivated, and I think that that's like good enough. And I think kind of just being satisfied with like the great things you have, and not being like upset with the things you don't, is probably a good lesson to take from this. Like the fappers are fucking dope. Like our Discord's insane. So like it was a long-winded way for me to say like I'm pretty happy with the community and the relationships, and that's like more than enough reason to do this shit. Logan, do you have anything for that one? That's a big one.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of question. In a very short 2 sentences. That's a lot of question. And with God, I think the biggest takeaway for me, I think Jordan touched on it, is don't let others define what you define as your success. We could be hung up on the fact that we don't get anything recognition wise from LSS. We could just sit there and just stew in that and say fuck it, eat the show, delete our content creator registration, do all this shit. but that's not how we're defining success. We're defining success by this community we've cultivated. Our community bullied us into a Patreon, bullied us into them giving us money. We are, fucking dumb. What the shit? And that's crazy. And so how you define success uh, is up to you. And that can be a moving goalpost. You can change. You can say, you can be satisfied even though it is outside of what your initial definition was. I mean, it does help for us that I don't think we started with an initial definition of success. We wanted to do the show. We were going to do it for as long as it was fun. And then we were going to stop. And 52 episodes later, we haven't stopped because I don't know. I mean, I don't want to speak for you two, but it's still fun for me. I still have a blast doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it. How it's changed my approach to the game, I'm kind of with Jordan in some ways, where if it wasn't for the community at large, I wouldn't play this game anymore. Not that the game's bad. I think it's a great game. I think it's a great game with a great engine. I would play it probably more casually if I did keep playing it, and I'm pretty casual now, honestly. I'm never going back to the grinder lifestyle. It just isn't a thing. So I think that the community has kept me in the game, and it's given me a broader realization of how important that aspect of life is, where you surround yourself with a group of people that you care about. And they can be somebody that lives like in bumfuck Florida, where we're in Iowa or whatever, and you care what happens to them, and they care what happens to you. It's very reminiscent of the old WoW days to me, where you had your guild and you didn't know these people, you never met them in real life, but you felt a close personal connection to them because for 6 hours a week you were knee deep in raids and relying on each other for things that you deemed important. And that's kind of how I feel about our community too. I feel like we share something that is commonly important to us, and it generates a genuine feeling of caring. And I do care about each and every one of you for the most part. So there's outliers, but we're not going to talk about that part.
That's right. We are not. All right. Question number 4 is from Griddlemaster. If LSS ever decided to do redeemable prizes for PTIs, what would be reasonable prizes? Like 1 would equal something and 2 would be an upgraded prize, maybe?
So this question, to be sure I understand, it's like I have a PTI in my pocket. I'm Dagan White. I have a PTI in my pocket. I want to turn it in for there's like a board, there's like a prize wall, and 1 PTI gets me a thing off of the prize wall. What is that thing off the prize wall? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. My first thought it would have to be money, because the secondary market,
defines it. Yeah.
I think that sets the money.
I think contextually speaking, we have to approach this from gifting PTIs is now dead. We have to approach it from that perspective, where you can no longer move PTIs.
Sure. Probably some like first edition product or like high end cold foils. Like a first edition box of Arcane Crew, that kind of thing. Two would get you maybe like an alpha box, if we're gonna keep the street value of like 1,000 per. Like if we assume that that's the market, like try to transfer the market rate. Because I like LSS has warehouses of alpha product, right? A warehouse of alpha product.
We have to think they do, yeah.
Right. Well, theoretically, right, yeah. So it doesn't cost them anything to give out an alpha box. It just hurts the collectability of other cards, which they care about, so they wouldn't do it. But if you could turn a PTI into something, you're Michael Hamilton and you have 30, you could turn 2 into what's that?
That's about right.
Yeah, it's not far from the truth. He gifted 1 to somebody for nationals, for crying out loud, two for an alpha box, I think sounds fair to me. one for like an Arcane Rising box. That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I think that that's about the only thing, right? Like, unless it's extended art tunic, or there are specific PTI cards that you cannot get them any way else other than redeeming PTIs for the card.
Sure.
I think that is also something reasonable. So if they ever did like, okay, like we're printing a gold a gold foil Katsu the Wanderer, and the only way to get this gold, or Reinar Reckless Rampage, or all the Alpha heroes, it doesn't actually matter. And the only way to get these is by redeeming PTIs.
Yeah. Yep.
Because then you would then take the card and sell it on the secondary market the same way you would have sold your PTI, and it's probably worth as much.
Yeah. What about redeem a PTI for a travel package to another tournament? So, hey, Worlds, I'll turn in my PTI to qualify for Worlds. I have this extra PTI. I would like a travel package, flight and hotel to Worlds. I don't think LSS would obviously ever do that because like that just adds this unknown cost to every PTI they give out.
Right.
But like I think it's a cool concept.
It is, but I think the external cost of that to LSS.
Oh yeah.
It nullifies the value of LSS for a PTI and redeemability of a PTI.
Oh, for sure. I would rather see just like a travel package be included in like you win a calling. Not even every PTI that goes out, because I don't think you should, travel package for winning a battle hardened, like whatever. But win a calling, maybe it'd be cool if you got a travel package, like more accessibility, especially for like our our APAC friends or like European people.
Now that we have South America, yeah,
right. Like get from there to if we're gonna if like PT3 is gonna be in Middle America. Jesus.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, yeah. But no, yeah, I definitely think that would be kind of fun for them to do things like that. If they wanted. I think in the world where they're transferable, we're not ever going to see that.
No.
But it's kind of a fun thing to talk about what the value of that stuff is.
There you go. Okay, question number 5 and 6 are together, but we'll do them separately. Number 5 is from Keith. Follow-up question to how LSS introduced Arachne in a supplemental set. They did this with Icelander, and it felt similar, where people began to work on decks with her in Everfest, but she didn't blossom until Uprising. So, because a new hero class has to play major catch-up with existing heroes, does introducing a new class in supplemental, followed by a draftable set, allow some core cards for that class that may not fit in the draftable set?
So this is based on what we talked about last week, how we didn't really enjoy how Arachne was put into the supplemental set because it kind of left a smaller card pool, and I think Keith's point's well taken that they did do this with Icelander.
But wasn't Icelander just a young hero?
Just young.
Yeah, true as well. So we don't actually know the full scope of what Icelander would have looked like if she were an adult hero. I imagine it's very similar. To Keith's point, I imagine that you would have thought, oh, this is a worse Kano and the ice cards don't bring it home. But when you get like the package that she got in Uprising, it made her, would have made her viable still, like it did. That being said, I get the point that, hey, this allows for some core cards or allows for some cards that also don't fit in a draftable set, allows you to double dip a little bit on back-to-back sets. I still think it's just worse than introducing it into a draftable set and just giving Arachne the suite of cards. If they're core to the hero, I would like them in the draftable set, so that like I think Logan, you pointed out last week that the draft is a good way to learn the hero at a very basic level. I'm sure there's some amount of card availability, card numbering, like they don't have the space in a draftable set like Keith is alluding to here, but it doesn't. They introduced Briar just fine. Then again, I guess Runeblade had a bunch of cards. What's a hero they introduced? Kind of Ranger. Okay, so Lexi. Lexi got most if not all of her support in Tales, right? For her early renditions. Yes, there was some Arcane Rising cards in there, but for the most part, she got most if not all of her support from Tales. And I think that I would like to see that style of introducing a hero, introducing a class, but I don't know. It's tough. The Icelander comp stuff too, because there already was a wizard. Not that many of the cards overlapped, but I don't know. I don't like the way they did Arachne still, but I get where you're coming from, Keith. That there's probably some reason to the release order. I just don't know if it's enough for me to care. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like draftable Arachne will fix a lot of things, and I also feel. But this is what I'm super scared of. I think that you got most of the Arcane Rising Arachne cards in Dynasty.
Okay.
And the ones that you didn't get, the problem now you run into is when Arachne shows up in a draftable set, how many of those are now reprinted in that draftable set? And so that like it feels like you're just getting the supplemental level of cards for Arachne versus, because it, like, let's be fair here. Regicide was not a card that was going to show up in Arcane Rising.
Right.
There's no Royal. There's none of that. So that one wasn't going to show up. But Surgical Extraction and Eradicate probably were.
Yeah.
But Leave No Witnesses strikes me as a supplemental set card. Because it does something, it feels like that was something that was added in later. I don't know if that's true or not. But I think that in order for Arachne to balance Arachne, if you do put Arachne in a draftable set, you can't print too much new stuff, because then you run the risk of not having a hero that is played enough that just has this massive card pool all of a sudden and just turns into too good. And whatever you do not staple base Go Again onto Arachne cards, please.
Oh, they're so good. If you do that,
just don't do it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Ugh. It is no.
Well, they all cost 0, so if they stapled Go Again, you'd have to change that, right? Like,
right. But even like a 1-for-4 that has a contract and banishes cards that has base Go Again is probably too good.
Yeah, that's like literally better than there's a base ninja card that has this 1-for-4 Go Again, right?
Yeah.
That card's insane. Like
there's
tap
1-for-5. That went for like tap's 1-for-5 Go Again.
Yeah, and that card's crazy. So
it's great. But 1-for-4 banish the top of your deck on hit with Go Again, they have to block for 0. Like,
yeah, it literally would have to not have a block value. Yeah,
that'd be very brute of you.
Yeah, but no, I'm with you.
So then part 2 is from Teague, follow up to that follow up. In Everfest, Icelander was introduced as a young hero with the adult version coming later. In Dynasty, Arachne has both versions. This means in the next draftable set, we will either get a reprint or a new assassin hero. Which method for introducing a new hero class do you prefer?
The former, by a
lot.
The
former as well. Yep.
So like, here's the part that's gonna fucking piss people off. You open a bunch of Dynasty, right? I opened a bunch of Dynasty. You opened a bunch of Dynasty. One of the Majestics in the pack was Adult Arachne. If that's a fucking token in a draftable set, fuck and you at that point. Unless it's like way different art that doesn't look near as cool or something along those lines, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, it means I opened a token Majestic. I mean, I already have that with Icelander, because if you have a Majestic Icelander from Everfest,
yep,
the token young Icelander from from the next set is a functionally the same card. The art is different.
Yep. And
But
the
it's
Majestic's not cool enough to justify that. You know,
No.
the art's not cool enough. It's not like they're all rainbow foils or it's just you made this mythic slot fucking worthless, dude. Like,
Right.
yeah,
It sucks.
yeah.
But
That's
I would
actually,
rather.
I never thought about that. That's awful.
Yeah. I would rather I only had one of my cards in a box completely deaded than two. Like,
Yeah.
and granted, the young Arachne is a rare, not a majestic. But even at that point, it's like if I opened young Arachne as a rare and it was young only in this set with the card pool it has, like, okay, we can fuck with this in Blitz. And then you put adult Arachne with young Arachne in the next draftable set. I'm like, okay. I'm not mad about losing the rare slot.
Right.
But
Like, rares are free anyway. Yeah.
Losing the majestic slot, like, for nothing in particular, for no value, no good reason, that's gonna hurt. And it's gonna happen. We know it's going to happen. But holy shit, is that feel bad?
Completely agree. It would
I
feel
didn't even
awful.
think about that.
And like they like doing it apparently.
Apparently.
I tried to stop the cat from getting on the desk, but she's gonna sneak up. There she goes.
Oh, love it.
Uh-oh.
Nope, she's
all right. So, guys, we're coming up on a year.
This is
December.
this
7th?
completes a year. This completes 52 straight weeks of fapping, and that's a lot.
That's right.
My forearms have never been stronger.
Oh my god.
I've been opening jars with such ease lately. Let me tell you.
I hate this.
There was a grape jelly jar this morning and it didn't stand a chance.
Not a fan.
Do
Anyway,
you like grape because you like grapes, or do you like grape because you like the taste of purple?
okay, grape is the worst jelly.
Grape jelly just tastes like purple. It doesn't taste like grapes.
I just like grape jelly because I've like growing up I was a pretty vanilla eater, and that's just what I had. So I'm like just stuck in it.
Okay,
Grape
because like acknowledging
worst.
that grape flavored things rarely taste like grapes.
Sure,
they taste like the color purple.
Sure,
yes,
sure, fair enough.
Anyway, all of that to say, we are doing a giveaway for our 1-year anniversary. So we are going to be giving away a box of Monarch First Edition. So, entry will be available on all platforms. So we'll have a thing in the Discord to react to. We'll have a tweet that you can retweet and like. I'm sure we'll figure out something for YouTube. Is that all?
Oh yeah, the tubers.
Oh
yeah.
god.
Like a comp.
What the fuck
What is
was
happening?
The cat is just unhinged.
Yeah, mine is mooing at me. I think she thinks that I've abandoned her again. My cat has separation anxiety, so if we leave for any amount of time, this bitch will not leave me alone for like probably the next 5 days.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so we will have all of that out by the time the episode drops. For you to enter on those various platforms. There'll
be links in the show notes too. Sorry.
Yes. The winner will be announced on our show that airs December 13th. So,
one key note, we will not be announcing the winner anywhere else.
Yep.
So it will require you to listen to the show to know if you won, and then DM us that, hey, you announced that I won this on the show. It's kind of to get rid of the people who are just digging for prizes on Twitter or whatever.
That's right.
And make it so that it's for the actual listeners of the show, because that's very important to us.
That's right.
That the people who are our listeners are the ones that are getting the swag in this case.
Yep. So be on the lookout for that. Let's do our Patreon. So we have our associate producer shout out, which is $5 tier. And we have Andy, and then we have our executive producer and up. We have Ed, Nick, Josh, Michael, Teague, Alan, Ben, Kenny, May, Philip, and Taylor. If you are interested in joining, patreon.com/flushandpod. We have 4 tier levels, and it breaks it out for each level. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FleshPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can shoot us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AbbyD83. Twitter is still going, so we'll just live it up while we can. That's like all I got.
I will freely admit that has gotten so buttery smooth. Like when you do that now, it is just like it sounds exactly the same every single time, and it's perfect.
Yeah, consistency is key.
Like it's just nailing it every single time.
Somebody's cat is dying.
That is mine. It
Okay.
is. She has separation anxiety. She is. Uh, Flake would have a description of her, that would be unflattering.
Gotcha.
And
Noted.
hey, Betsy, stop it. Yeah, fucking idiot. At any rate, yes, you can find me on Twitter at Logan Peterson. You can also find me on Hive at Logan Peterson, which is a new thing, I guess. I keep the same handle everywhere I go, just because two things. One, I believe that being anonymous on the internet is horrifying for in a lot of ways, because it gives people a license to be a complete asshole. And if I ever say anything head-assed or anything like that, I want to be put to the coals. I want my feet on the fire so I can learn from it. So that's why I just staple my actual name to everything. So you can always find me everywhere. If I have a social account, it's going to be my name. That's it. End of story. So I am also on Hive now, though. So if you want to come find me on the Hive, I think we do buzzes, or I don't know what the fuck they're called there. I just don't know. But yes, you can find me there as well. Also the Discord. Always down to talk shit and hang out. We have a very great Discord community. And so it'd be great if you came in and hung out too. I promise that I will treat you with kid gloves at the start. It'll be great. Jordan, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at I'mJerman. Similar deal. Tweet a lot about Flesh and Blood, politics. World Cup is going on right now. Ohio State's breaking my fucking heart right now. So like, it was bad yesterday, man. Oh my god, I'm surprised the city still stands, to be honest. So there's a lot going on over there. Same as Logan, maybe on Discord is probably the best way to get like my immediate attention. And I like chatting with people on there. So,
what's the bat signal for Urban Meyer? Is it just a chick in a bar grinding?
Like, yeah, it's like a college girl and like got a wife that turns a blind eye. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that up in the sky right now in Columbus? Like,
yeah, basically it's like I have to imagine like Jason Day just like texts Urban at halftime, like, what adjustment should I make? And then if Urban doesn't respond, we don't. What did I say, Jason?
Yeah,
Jason Day's a golfer.
He is.
He's from Ohio too, or he's from Australia, but lives in Ohio. Imagine of all places to move to from Australia. I imagine Ryan Day just like text Urban Meyer, what changes should I make? And if Urban doesn't respond, then we don't make any changes. And I just assume that that's what's happened yesterday. Is like Urban just couldn't get back to him in time, so we made no changes.
He was busy.
He was busy at the college bar.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I immediately, like, the first thing I saw on any social media after that game was, well, we got to get Urban back, and I'm like, really? Like,
yeah, I don't want Urban back because he's a bad. I think Ryan Day is a good dude, right? Mm-hmm. Like the awareness he does for mental health stuff is incredible in a sport where people don't talk about that shit. I think he's a good person. I'm really ready to be wrong because head coaches of massive programs are always bad people. But like right now, I like Ryan Day a lot. Mm-hmm. I just think like we played like hell after the first quarter. Michigan adjusted and we didn't. And like it was a tough watch yesterday.
Yeah,
it was tough.
I mean, I guess that makes sense to me. So,
but talk to me about it. Let me know how y'all feel about
it. My Cyclone basketball team took down number 1.
Oh, so I saw that.
That was that was intense. I loved the fuck out of that.
That's kind of crazy,
especially when it was not a well officiated game. And Iowa State has a history of losing the shit out of not well officiated games.
It's funny.
Yep. All right. Well, that is all we have for this week. be on the lookout for the entry for the giveaway, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.